Most of us think of spring as the time for blossoms and blooms, but as Mo Rocca reminds us, come summer and fall, the sunflower shines bright.
Who is responsible for this?
Well, I'm responsible for planting them. She's responsible for putting it on Facebook.
This field of sunflowers is courtesy of Ted and Kris Grinter.
It looks like it goes on forever out there, and it's really pretty.
It is breathtaking when the whole field is in bloom and you just see that sea of yellow.
That sea of yellow has made Grinter Farms in Lawrence, Kansas, one of the state's most popular spots for sunflower lovers. Thousands visit each year. So tell me about the kinds of people who come here.
All kinds, from everywhere, all over the world, really.
One day I met somebody from Australia, Russia, and China in 5 minutes.
So many people tried coming in 2016, it caused a 10-mile backup on the highway. The Grinters dubbed it Carmageddon.
We broke the interstate.
Mm-hmm.
People talk about breaking the internet. You broke the interstate.
Yes. I got a call, an angry call from a sheriff that said, you have to close it down. And I said, sir, it's a field.
Back in the 1970s, Ted's father hoped to turn sunflowers into biofuel. When that idea went bust, he started harvesting the seeds for bird feed. You have this big field, but it only exists for how long?
Maybe 2 weeks.
Soon after, Ted joined the family business.
This one's just opening up.
About 1 million seeds are planted each summer. By early September, they're picture perfect.
We heard about it online, I think, a lot, and a lot of my friends come out here, post pictures on Instagram and stuff.
The couple doesn't charge admission, but there is a donation box. Leave $1, take a flower.
Well, I farm 2,000 acres. I don't make a living off the sunflowers. I mean, it's more of a hobby that's kind of taken over. If you look around and you see all the smiles on people's faces, we're making a lot of memories.
Fun fact, sunflowers are heliotropic. As they grow, they follow the sun each day through the sky. But after they bloom, they're fixed facing east. And sunflower is something of a misnomer, since each head contains up to thousands of tiny flowers known as florets.
About 5,000 years ago, they became cultivated into these giant sunflowers that we kind of see today.
Caitlin Eckard says sunflowers originated in what's now North America, grown by indigenous people. She oversees educational programming at Powell Gardens near Kansas City.
They would use the oil for their hair, the seeds they would obviously eat.
And the stems.
Yeah, it's really strong. They use it as a building material, believe it or not.
In the late 1800s, sunflowers flexed their political muscle, becoming a symbol of women's suffrage.
You'll see those campaign pins typically show a sunflower. It became that symbol moving forward.
Now, Kansas may be the sunflower state, but sunflowers are grown across the country. North Dakota actually produces the most. And take a look at these flowers in the Garden State of New Jersey. But only in Ellsworth, Wisconsin, will you find sunflowers like these.
So this is Big Bird. She's so thick, and as it opens up, it looks like Big Bird.
Steve Kaufer is known as Sunflower Steve. That's also the name of his seed company.
That can be a cool fall color, a chocolate double flowering sunflower.
Kaufer fell into the cut flower business after losing his advertising job in 1999. Traditional sunflowers eventually became his bread and butter. But in 2007, Kaufer noticed a rogue sunflower growing in one of his fields.
It's got golden maroon in it. I said, I'd never seen anything like that.
He took 12 seeds from that lone flower and planted them the next year.
10 of them were really ugly looking. They just looked terrible, but one of them looked just like the parent plant, and the other one was this dark, dark maroon with a little bit of lemon in it.
So we're gonna take our high-tech insemination equipment.
Getting these flowers to reproduce is no small feat. Couldn't you just get some bees to do this?
I do have bees to do this, but I don't want them to share it with all the other flowers. I want to kind of try to control who gets what.
You're controlling. Experimentation like this has given birth to blooms like Gigi, Lamar, Marley, and Maleficent. When you're doing this, what are you? Are you like a doctor, a mad scientist, or?
You know, I think I just have a natural curiosity to think, what if?
Sunflower Steve now only sells seeds and in very limited batches, mostly to home gardeners.
Well, it's the only place in the world that exists. So, I mean, when you have something nobody else has, you do have an advantage. But it's taken 15 years to get there.
Kaufer puts his original sunflowers to good use, making murals that have become hits on Instagram. As a child of the 80s, I love the Pac-Man.
Yeah,
that one is great.
For Easter, I had to make the Jesus fish. And when they were done with it, my daughter calls me up and says, "Hey, Dad, can we turn that into a shark?" So they made this big, giant, 25-foot long great white shark out of sunflowers.
Steve Kaufer has learned to be patient. Not everything is a success. But he says his happiness comes from spreading happiness.
When I see them and I think they're cool, and then somebody who's never seen it before is just blown away by it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember that feeling when I saw that flower the first time too.
This week on Mobituaries, she helped define cool. Peggy Lee, wherever you get your podcasts.